and welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, an initiative by ET powered by Kindle. I am Sumit Mitra, bringing to you conversations with business leaders as we try to discover some interesting insights around their personal and professional journey over the years, their leadership lessons, their hobbies, and other such engaging topics. Joining me today is a versatile senior global leader and what many call as the people person. He likes spending time with customers, interacting with them. That helps him to understand that likes and dislikes. At the same time, he interacts extensively with colleagues, both formally and informally, to sense the pulse of the organization. With great pleasure, I welcome Sumit Mitra, CEO of Tesco Business Services on Cutting Chai Stories. Welcome, Sumit.
Thank you, Ashwini, and you've been so kind. It's a real pleasure to be here today and to talk about any questions that you throw at me. So look forward to this, Ashwini.
Thank you, Sumit. Look forward to it as well. We are all a product of our exposures and experiences, Sumit. If we were to go back in time, especially during your childhood, school, or college days, what were some of the instances or learnings that have shaped you and made you what you are today?
It's a very interesting question you ask me. I had quite a unusual childhood, and I generally don't talk about this in public, but I'll give you a view since you are asking this question. I was born in the 70s, and in 70s India, divorce wasn't really heard of. It was quite unheard of, actually. And my parents divorced because of dowry and number of social issues which happened, and that impacted my childhood quite significantly. It's the whole undue criticism that you face as a child. Although it's not your fault.
Right.
I was very, very young, and the relatives, family, they think that you have some infectious disease, that your family have split up, and it was the society in those days in Calcutta.
Right.
And it could drive you in two ways. One, you think, I give up. This is why is it happening to me? Why am I being impacted? Or you say, tell you what, I'm gonna get over this, and I'm gonna build this real passion and drive inside me to achieve the unachievable and prove the whole world wrong, that you can be successful and you can get out of this and really prove your mettle in the society and be someone in the society and
Right.
contribute in the society. So that was my biggest learning. It taught me the art of being compassionate towards others and really putting yourself into other people's shoes. We use the word empathy a lot these days.
Right. Yes.
In those days, probably empathy wasn't big on the agenda. But I think, but what it did was that it gave me a purpose in life. It gave me a real passion and a drive to prove everybody wrong. And I think that really helped me to be who I am today. And if you ask me, would I change anything about my past? I wouldn't, because that has made me who I am today.
That's very inspiring, Sumit. So you had a very trying hard childhood, I would say, but you've come out of it in a very, very positive manner, and that's a great learning in itself. So thanks for sharing this, we'll move ahead with the conversation. Your first corporate job was at British Telecom, Sumit, right, in the UK as a business consultant. You worked with BT for almost 16 years. You
Yep.
set up a brand new organization from scratch, and you had done multiple roles there, in these years, which included sales, marketing, strategy, operations, and management. So what were the learnings that you derived at BT, and what was the most valuable role of all?
What was very interesting is when I all my life I studied science, medical sciences, and from there when I went into business management, it was a big career change for me to get into business management. And when I went to business management, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to really have a feel whether I wanted to, whether I'm cut out to be a CEO in the future. So one of
Right.
the things I did in BT was wrote to my group CEO 2 weeks. It was madness, complete madness if I think about it now, but it was crazy. In 2 weeks in, I wrote to the group CEO to say, "Can I sit down and spend a day with you to really understand what you do? Because
Okay.
I've done science all my life. I've come into business management, and I really want to understand how do you become a CEO. I really want to understand this." And he ignored me, but I kept writing every week to him. And then he probably got fed up and called me in,
Invited you.
invited me to spend a day with him. And it was the turning point in my life because it really helped me understand what a CEO does. And he taught me a big lesson in life. He said, there's two ways of going at the top. One is you become an absolute subject matter expert in a particular area and you become world class at it, or you become a jack of all trade and master of none and you move around the business. So I thought there is absolutely no way I could be a specialist. So let me move around the business. So every 18 months to 2 years, and BT gave me that fantastic platform to move from sales, marketing, as you talked about, contract, commercial management, procurement. So, and that gave me a real depth and variety within the business. And what was real interesting was for me personally was about the knowledge I acquired about the business end to end. And that helped me really in my last two roles. One was being the director of group strategy. Strategy, a lot of people feel it's written at 30,000 feet above sea level, and
Right.
implementation is run by somebody else. But I could really write and feel and do strategy, which was right down to the ground because I understood the business really well. And that was a real differentiator for me in my career. And then I set up the global business services division through the strategy and gave me a real understanding of the running all operations from finance to procurement to people operations to commercial and contract management. So I ran almost 12-15% of BT at one point.
Oh,
Uh,
right.
and that gave me a real understanding of different markets, different countries. I ran 13,500 people across 11 countries, and it gave me a real understanding of different cultures, different business practices, different customers. And that was probably the key role. And today, if I look back, I've probably been the jack of all trade, but specialist in global business services. So I ended up being a mixture of both, as my old CEO told me once about 20 years ago.
Well, and all these are very invaluable ingredients to become a CEO, Sumit, right? And it also helped you immensely to connect to your present organization, I believe, which is serving shoppers little better every day in that form.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about what Tesco's purpose is serving our customers, planet, and community a little better every day. And little better every day is all about continuous improvement. How do we incrementally improve that experience and impact that we have in the society, to the planet, to the customers? And what I do running my operations is exactly the same. I run global operations for Tesco across multiple countries. And the whole job is around continuous improvement. How do we make sure the operations get better and better so that we can serve our customers better, and
True,
being
true.
customer right at the heart and center of everything that you do?
And it's very essential in today's time, Sumit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can never lose touch with your customers.
Absolutely.
They are the
Right.
reason you exist.
Yes. Right. It's often said that the MD or the CEO is the chief team builder for the organization. What are your insights, recommendations on team building, and what advice would you give to someone going into a leadership position for the first time?
Yeah. So I would almost re change the term of CEO to CCO. So CCO, I call it the Chief Coaching Officer.
Right.
So my job is a coach. If you think about football, I am not a payroll specialist, neither am I a finance specialist, nor am I a procurement specialist. So look, the way I look at it is my players are playing in the field. Some of them are doing different jobs. And a coach's job is to stand in the never lead from the front, but lead from the back, to make sure you have the right structure, right? And I call it the ability to create an environment of success.
Right.
For my players to play football, do I have the right grass? Do I have the right ball? Do I have the right physio? Do I have the right mental health support? Do I have the right equipment in my gym? Do I have the right strategy for them to go and work against the opposition? So my job is coaching, and I always make sure that I am available for my team, doesn't matter how busy I am, to support them. And also, what's important is to provide a safety net, because as a business leader, you would want your business and your colleagues to take risks, because if you don't take risks, you're not going to go forward in life. But it's also important that to provide that safety net to say it's okay to fail. If you fail, fail fast and learn from it. But the
Right.
organizational safety net is there to catch you if things go wrong.
Right, very well put. So the analogy of football that you've touched upon and the chief coaching officer, that's very essential here. Pandemic or otherwise, Sumit, leaders such as you are often asked as how they take care of their teams, customers, how do they nurture them, help them grow. Very seldom are leaders asked as how they're taking care of themselves. So how has been the last 18 months for you? How have you managed to deal with this crisis?
Yeah, it's very interesting. The first thing I would say is I'm a very fidgety character. So I can't sit still unless I'm reading a book, of course. And I really want my kind of my brain, my body stimulated all the time. Otherwise, it doesn't work for me. And
Right.
the first thing I realized is that during this pandemic, I am no good to anybody if I'm not physically and mentally fit, if I'm not able to provide the right support and right coaching, and mentally not in the right space. If my brain is cluttered, I'm unable to support my organization. So I'm no good to anybody. So charity begins at home. So it's really important that I look after myself. So one of the things I took on um, is martial arts to keep me busy, occupied from a health perspective. So
Right.
I did the original form of martial art. I did Aikido as a child when I went to university around 18, 19. I was in Scotland.
Mhm.
And then I gave up many years. You do it, and then your work pressure, your studies, etc. You give up. So I got my black belt then, and then I gave up. And then my two daughters, younger daughters, both old and younger, they're black belts in Taekwondo.
Okay.
So I tried to practice with them, and then realized that they're actually giving me a very very hard time, and I'm unable to get near them with two black belts. So they challenged me if I would be able to learn Taekwondo and get myself a black belt. So I took on the challenge for 18 months in lockdown and practiced and got a coach to support me online and then physically when things opened up. And I managed to get my black belt in Taekwondo through the Korean Federation. So I'm very pleased with
Very
that.
interesting. Very interesting. You love sports,
I
so
love
you play
sports.
badminton. I believe you play cricket, you swim. So that's something that has always driven you all these years.
Yeah, it's sports is a great leveler. It doesn't matter who you are in the
Absolutely.
society. And I love team sports. And I think, when you are right in there, you know your strengths, your weaknesses, and you get your colleagues to support you around you. And I think it's a great leveler. And I love sports. I think that keeps you mentally, physically really fit. And I absolutely love it. And I think that really helped me through the lockdown to channelize and focus my energy into a particular thing. And also I kept a dog, so that really helped me as well. So I always wanted to keep a dog, and I always had a dog as a child, but never when I grew up. And I thought this is the opportunity, because I always felt, what if I'm unable to spend time with the dog? So I spent good 8, 9 months training the dog up, and she's lovely, and she's such a great family member, and it really again helped me to focus on something different other than work.
Amazing. Right. You broached on the topic of football quite many times, Sumit. So which is your favorite team?
Oh my goodness. They're not doing too well at the moment. So I am a heart and soul Manchester
Manchester
United,
United.
United fan. And I used to be a season ticket holder at Old Trafford when I used to live in UK. But now I watch every game, and my team knows that on a Wednesday when they're playing Champions League, the game doesn't finish till 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
And next day I'm in at work at 8, so which isn't very
They
pleasant.
lost. They lost to Liverpool recently, I believe.
Do you have to bring it up?
Very interesting. Right. Right. No, being a leader also means being able to build long-term relationships, Sumit. And a lot of people say that your network is your net worth. What is your views on this subject?
I think sometimes, so I'm going to be a bit controversial and say sometimes people put too much focus on networking. For me, there is no alternative to hard work and effective work. To me, the harder and the more effectively you work, the luckier you're going to get.
Right.
And there is no alternative to that. So if you work hard, if you're honest, if you be yourself and bring your best self to work, that is the most fundamental, I call it the brilliant basics that you need to do. And then beyond that, it's important that you build your network around the business. Who you know sometimes really helps. And that helps you connect. And the way I look at it, the way I build my network is more around learning from others. But I am who I am. If I try, and it doesn't matter who I network with, if I today try to be Sundar Pichai or Indra Noori, I can't be, because they are who they are. And I would be a very, very bad copy of them. So I have my strengths. I am who I am. But what really helps me is learning what not to do from others. That really helps me to kind of build my armory or repertoire in terms of how I want to be seen and perceived as a leader. And networking does help. As I said, you build contacts, you grow your business through your networking, you get talent through networking. So it has its advantage, but we shouldn't overemphasize on networking, because doing your brilliant basics is working hard, strategic thinking, having the commercial awareness, building interpersonal skills, and having the right knowledge, skills, and attributes is the important piece.
Very well said. So be who you are, keep working hard, and keep learning from experiences around you. So that's something good takeaway that we can all take from here. A final question, Sumit, before we wind up the first piece of this conversation. More relevant to the present scenario, and over the last year and a half, again, we have seen businesses being disrupted. What has this crisis meant for leaders like yourself? What have been some of the key lessons learned?
Great question again. So if you think about, what has put faith back for me is, this world has gone through a huge disruption. And if you think about what has happened, the random act of kindness that the human being has shown around the world to support their neighbors, support their families, support their country, has been immense. And that puts faith back to say, society ain't that bad, actually. We can work together and be together. And I think what has taught me more to do is empathy. Empathy has come in right at the heart and center of everything. People say that we are all in the same boat. No, we are not in the same boat. We are in the same storm, but we are in the different boat.
Different boats.
Because
Very well put.
everybody's problems are different. And is the empathy of understanding and putting yourself in other people's shoes and really understanding what they want and how they want it is really important. And treat people how they would like to be treated, not how you would like to treat them, is really important. I think that was the biggest lesson for me in terms of the pandemic. And another one is around customer. Never forget your customer. During the pandemic, you can build real loyalty, because everybody is stressed, everybody is going through their own issues. So if you can bring empathy right at the heart with your customer as well, and keep customer right at the heart and center of everything that you do, whether it's your proposition, whether it's how you plan your shopping trips for your customers, how you make products available, how you are available to them on time, every time, how do you do it right first time for your customers. I think those are real critical ingredients that will help you to build a better future and a better business for all of us.
Very well said. And it goes a long way, Sumit, that way. Right. Thank you, Sumit, for your time, for your candid views and sharing your story. There have been some very interesting insights that you have shared during this conversation. It was a pleasure speaking with you on Cutting Chai Stories. All the best.
Thank you very much, Ashwin. Thank you. Pleasure. Well done.